In 2020, the San Francisco Giants drafted RJ Dabovich from Arizona State University. He went from a kid who did not like baseball to a top draft pick by the Giants, hitting 100 miles per hour. He has absolutely dominated in pro ball, making it all the way to AAA in just 2 years. Giant beat writers have raved about him all season. I got to talk to RJ and we talk about his high school career, where he was absolutely dominant. We discussed playing in one of the more iconic JUCOs out there, and crazy stories such as postgame wrestling and insane punishments only found in the junior college environment. We discussed Arizona State and playing with fellow studs like Hunter Bishop and Torkelson. RJ was awesome to talk to, and I let him know that he might make me do something I've never done in my life. I explained what that is and why in the interview, so listen to the end. Anyways, always leave a review and give us a follow. RJ Dabovich, how is it going, brother?
Not too bad. And yourself?
I'm doing great. Did I pronounce the last name right?
Yeah, you did.
All right. I was practicing as soon as before you got on, just looking in the mirror like, I got to get this right. I can't screw this up.
It's not an easy one.
Yeah, perfect. Well, how's it going in Arizona? You're there for the off season. How's that going?
It's going pretty good. Just hanging out right now, just kind of relaxing, letting the body recover before I, get back in the gym and start getting after it again. Probably in about a week or two or so. Just enjoying my downtime right now and hanging out with some friends and family, and just have a blast.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of like family out in Arizona? Because I know you're from California originally, right? Oh, no,
Colorado.
Colorado originally.
Colorado. I have an aunt down here, and an uncle, and then again, just hang out with friends. I'm going back to Colorado probably next week to just stop at home and visit my parents and grandparents and all that fun stuff.
That's awesome. So I was looking at your high school stats here, and let's jump right into that. You were the ninth overall ranked player in the state of Colorado. When did you realize you were kind of nasty at baseball?
I thought I was in high school, like junior year, I was, coming back from a little arm injury. I didn't pitch a whole lot. And then senior year, I thought I was pretty cool, pretty good. And then I went to junior college and realized that I wasn't that good. And then after my freshman year at junior college is when I actually developed, I actually thought that I was, pretty nasty. And that was the realization for me that I could, pursue a career in baseball and actually make something of it.
Yeah, well, I'm not a stats guy, but dude, I was looking at your stats in high school, and in varsity, you were 7-2 with a 0.80 ERA and almost about 70 innings pitched. I mean, is that good? You tell me, 0.80 ERA.
Not bad.
So like you mentioned, you thought you were kind of like top, hot stuff in high school. Like, obviously with those numbers and stuff, like and being a top ranked prospect and all that kind of stuff. Like, how was it like with that pressure of being like? Maybe like I don't know if you were that dude on your team, but just being like that one of those top guys in your state.
I mean, I didn't really feel a lot of pressure in high school. We had a really good baseball club down there. A lot of good quality players. So it kind of like dispersed it out where like if I ever had a bad game, someone was going to find a way to pick me up.
Yeah.
Granted, I didn't have a lot of bad games in high school, but again, I had so much fun playing with my friends in high school and competing with them that there was never really a big pressure to win or pressure to do good. It was just more about having fun with my friends and hanging out every day.
Yeah. When did you start playing baseball? Like, were you like in T-ball and all that kind of stuff?
I was about 11 years old, like fourth to fifth grade. I hated baseball in elementary school. I loved football, loved basketball. I thought baseball was pretty boring. And I only started playing because one of my friends during the summer, like all my friends were playing. Yeah. I was like, well, I don't want to not hang out with them. So like, why not just play baseball? Like it's just going to be a way to hang out with them and just another thing. And then all of a sudden, it was fun. I had a good time and 2-3 years go by. And then I started to fall in love with baseball.
Yeah. So you went from like, baseball is okay, kind of boring to like, wow, I'm really good playing for Arizona State. Like, and getting drafted in the 4th round by the San Francisco Giants, one of like a storied franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point did you realize like, I'm going to start taking this more serious?
Probably my freshman, sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
That's when I had like my first kind of velo jump and I started doing a little bit harder, started getting some college looks. And when that happened, I was like, okay, like, I kind of want to like actually pursue this and then see what can happen. And then, I started taking working out more seriously, my nutrition a little bit more seriously, and just dedication to actual baseball a little more seriously and more full time. And it started to pay off for me.
How hard were you throwing in high school?
Freshman year, I was like mid to upper 70s, maybe low 80s. And
Okay.
then sophomore year, again, when I started taking it seriously, I had a pretty big jump, and I was like 89 to 91.
Jeez.
And then I committed to Wichita State. And then, I had a little arm issue after that. And then senior year, I was like up to 94.
Dang. So what is the hardest you threw in like your senior year?
Senior year was 94, and it was the playoff game against, I think it was Valor Christian. I was up to 94, yeah, and that was pretty cool.
That's so sick. So what maybe would be like your advice for guys in like high school trying to like get that velo game? Because nowadays like velocity is like so big. Like everyone wants to throw hard and you throw hard, but like what was maybe something that worked for you in order to gain like that velocity?
I mean, the few biggest things are, one, just trust it's gonna come.
Mhm.
Like don't like freak out about it. Like as you mature in age, you're gonna start throwing harder. It's just how the body works. But other than that, like work out, gain weight, gain muscle mass, gain flexibility, and just get in the weight room, get with a trainer, and really work. And if
Yeah.
you put the work in the weight room, then again, as you mature, as you grow, the velo will come. Like all the young kids chasing velo, like yeah, it's cool, but like at the end of the day, like it comes with age. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it's not something that you can just instantly go get as a 12-year-old. Like, hey, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go grind and pull down weighted balls for 3 months, and I'm gonna throw 90. Like sometimes it takes a maturing with age and maturing with your body, and just sticking to it and sticking to the grind, and you'll see the numbers pay off eventually.
Yeah. And speaking of numbers, like I said, I'm not a stats guy, but like I'm just checking out some of these stats, dude. Like kind of nasty. Like your senior year, your ERA was 0.27. Were you just body bagging hitters in Colorado like all season long?
Yeah, I mean, again, like nothing against. I think Colorado baseball is slept on, but the reason why it's slept on is because I'd say more than half the teams are kind of that poor talent.
Yeah.
Just they don't have a really good coach.
Okay.
They don't like they're lacking on players.
Yeah.
So like half the teams in that 4A Colorado baseball are like kind of tough. Now there is some good talent in the other half, but again, like you kind of like feast on that lower half, and then
Sure.
you can have a few good games against the good teams, and you end up with some pretty good numbers at the end.
That makes sense. So, like, who was maybe someone else that was pretty good, like in your state? Like, maybe you played against in travel ball, or somebody who ended up
Uh,
going D1, getting drafted, stuff like that.
I mean, we had a bunch of good kids, especially my senior year. There was me, Jacob Hilton, who went to Central Arizona with me. At Caleb Sloan. We actually had we had a little group. It's called the Fuzz Club. That was
Nice.
kind of all of us. We were all working out together, and we had probably like 5 or 6 guys in the low to mid 90s senior year. Which again, like in Colorado, that's a
That
lot.
that's gas in Colorado.
So it was pretty cool. Good hitters. Played against Otremba, Tanner Otremba. He went
Yeah.
to I think Texas Tech, and then Arizona, and actually he got drafted by the Giants this last year.
Oh, cool.
So that was pretty cool. And then Cole Wynn was another one I played against, who is
Yeah.
he's Cole Wynn. He's pretty nasty too. So yeah, they're good. Again, there's a good group of high school baseball players in Colorado. It's just every year they start to get a little bit more looks at, and then all of a sudden like they're pretty good at the end of it.
Yeah. So let's dive deeper into this Fuzz Club, or what did you call it?
Yeah, the Fuzz Club.
So who came up with the name? Was that like an actual club, or is that just you guys got together? You're like, what are we gonna call ourselves? Like, we need
We
a name.
we all kind of worked out with this guy named Sean Cashman. He was kind of like our
Okay.
pitching coach, kind of mental skills coach, like all
Yeah.
around just kind of good guy, good coach guy. And we started working out, and I forgot who coined it, and it just kind of came up, and it was pretty fun. And then we all kind of took it to heart, and kind of like owned the personality of it.
Yeah. So all of you guys were just pitchers, just throwing gas.
Yeah, trying to anyway. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's so sick. Okay, cool.
it was a good
And
time.
yeah, and like you talk about Colorado, like the state of like how many good players come out of Colorado. So I grew up in California, like where
Okay,
they just produce talent. Not me,
produce.
apparently.
Yeah,
I got missed, but everyone else that comes out there, is pretty good. I've talked to guys like in the Midwest where it snows a lot, or like even from Canada where it snows a lot, and I'm sure Colorado gets a pretty good amount of snow. So you
no,
can't
yeah,
you
definitely.
can't practice like year round like the Florida kids, the California kids. So throwing like 94, that's like the equivalent of probably hitting triple digits in like these other states and
Sometimes,
stuff.
yeah, definitely. I mean, again, like the biggest thing is like a lot of Colorado kids see velo gains in college because
Hmm.
they call it thawing out. You know what I mean? Like you get out of the cold, you get on a throwing program, and get working out year round and outside, and all of a sudden you blossom into this. If you were 90, 92 in high school, again with maturity, with thawing out, all of a sudden you're 92 to 95 and
Yeah,
throwing cheese, and it's just again like always stick to it. Like if you think you can, you can. So always
yeah.
stick to it.
That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, I got to figure out how I can get involved in the Fuzz Club. I got to figure out how I can start throwing. Maybe I have to get into a throwing program. Maybe that's gonna be my
Good time.
my program. See if a non-baseball player can start hitting some gas and stuff like that. When did you first hit triple digits throwing, or have you hit triple digits? Have you hit 100?
I have, I think twice. The first time was during COVID workouts, and it was a pretty fun day. Like a few weeks prior, I was throwing live ABs, and I was like 96, 97,
Mm-hmm.
98. Like I was throwing hard, and then took a week off and came back right after the draft too. Like literally, I want to say like 4 or 5 days after the draft, and came in through a live AB. And like the first at bat was I didn't throw a pitch under 98.
Dang.
And then the next at bat, I was like 96 and a half, 96 and 90, or 90, sorry, 99.6, 99.7, 99.8. And then I was finishing up and I was like, okay, I'm just not going to not try. So
Yeah.
there's a batter in the box, but I mean, I just chucked it as hard as I could, like 4 straight times. And the last one was 100.1.
There you go. So what was that like?
So,
What was that emotion or that feeling of like, all right, dude, I just hit triple digits.
I mean, it was awesome. Like you kind of like work, like if you want to throw hard, like that's, at the end of the day, that's arbitrary goal is hitting
Yeah.
100. And for some people, it's just not anatomically possible.
Yeah.
So you always wonder if like your ceiling is 99.
Sure.
And
Sure.
then when you finally break through and get that number, you're like, oh, damn, like
Yeah.
now how high can I go? So pretty cool. I've been working hard and trying to get to 101. Haven't gotten there yet, but hopefully next year we can get to it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so when you hit 100, were you thinking to yourself like, all right, I'm kind of a dog.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
I might be good at this game.
it was kind of funny because his name was Rob Emery. He's with the Giants too. He's with my agency, and his first professional at bat in those live ABs was against me, and it was when I was 99, 99.8, 100. He's like, "Yeah, you're kind of nasty, bro," and I was like, "Hey, thanks."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool, and then just that whole environment, training in
Yeah.
COVID was awesome, and I think it was great for my development.
Do you think having that year of like that COVID where you can just focus on developing like kind of maybe in the long term, like obviously different circumstances, but like ideally, but maybe that was just very beneficial for you before you like entering pro ball?
I mean, that was huge. I mean, I got a nice player plan from the Giants right when I got drafted, and with that, 7, 8, 9 months off, I was really able to just not worry about any results anywhere because I wasn't playing in actual
Mhm.
games. Only development, working on my pitches, working on what they want me to work on, working on my command, and that 7 months was huge for me because it allowed me to jumpstart what I needed to work on. And with having to play games through it, I don't know if I would be as good as I am now.
Yeah. And like whenever I like Google your name or just like search like articles about you, it's just giant beat writers just falling in love with you, saying how fast you're progressing. And like you may be some were saying you might be called up this past season and you're in AAA now, which is sick. But like before that in high school, like how were the college visits? Like at one point, like did you start and why didn't like was Colorado State like never an option? Or do they look at you as like the one who got away? Like that's our guy?
I don't know. I mean, there's not a lot of like Division 1 programs in Colorado. There's a few junior colleges, a few D2s. And I originally committed as a sophomore in high school, so
Wow.
kind of like pushed away all like the Colorado colleges from recruiting me. And then when I eventually decommitted and re-upped up my commitment, no one in Colorado really was really talking to me. I don't know if the whole situation there. I mean, if CU Boulder ever had a program, I mean that would have been insane because I definitely would have gone there. But again, when it was all said and done, like my senior year when I decommitted and started looking around again, like I just felt that junior college was the best route for me. Um, and yeah, Central Arizona felt like a great fit. Felt like a good culture, a good baseball atmosphere down there, and definitely thought I was going to get better, and I definitely did.
So yeah, let's talk about JUCO. And I love talking to guys who went JUCO because like the stories I hear coming out of
Yeah.
JUCO colleges are insane. But why the JUCO route? I understand it because you can go 1 year, get drafted, and there's so many good JUCO colleges that will compete with any D1 school.
Mhm.
But like for you personally, like what was kind of like your reasoning to go there?
The biggest thing was betting on myself. And
Yeah.
again, like after I decommitted, I only had a few mid-major offers towards the end of my senior year, and none of them felt like a good fit. Like I always thought that I could go to a bigger school and
Hmm.
compete there, but by the time again, I just didn't have an offer. So I was like, okay, do I either take the safe route, go to this mid-major and pitch and hopefully progress and do better, or do I go to Central Arizona, grind my ass off, get better at baseball and see what can actually happen. And at the end of the day, after a few long talks with my parents, my friends, my mentors, it just kind of felt like the best route for me was to bet on myself and go that junior college route. And I'm forever thankful I did. That
Yeah.
was one of the best years of my life. Baseball on the field, off the field, around friends, and the guys down there are still my friends to this day, and
Yeah.
I haven't seen them in 3 years.
So
But
basically, the moral of the story is bet on yourself because you never know.
always bet on yourself, man. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's just a different. Like once you bet on yourself, like your back's against the wall. You're like, okay, I
Hmm.
have to get. Like I chose this route. I chose to do this. Like I don't know, just bring something out of any competitor out there, and it always pushes them to be better.
Yeah. And your team was like insane in Central Arizona. Like they have such a culture. Like
Mm-hmm.
so I think I was reading like over 100, maybe 150 guys have gone there, have made who have gotten drafted or gone on to play
Mm-hmm.
pro ball. With like several like all-stars who have gone there.
Mm-hmm.
Was
Definitely.
that kind of playing a factor into it? Because like there's a ton of good JUCOs out there, and like obviously that's one of the better ones.
Yeah, talking to Gilly down there, the head coach, when I was taking my visit there, I liked Arizona. I like staying, a little bit closer to Colorado, a little bit
Hmm.
closer to home than going out to the west or the East Coast and playing in like Chipola, Northwest Florida
Yeah.
State, those ones. I just kind of wanted to stay closer to home. Went there and talking to him, talking to the players who were there. They loved it there and everything it stood for. So I just wanted to be a part of that culture and it was awesome. Like
Yeah.
the way they develop players and the way they turn out prospects, like it's one of the greatest again atmospheres in baseball, in my opinion.
All right, so let's talk about this. So you guys were good. You're 45-13 your season there, and you were just obviously dominating there. Do you have any funny JUCO stories? So I've talked to guys who went to like the Chipotle route, or even to who went to Wabash Valley and here in Chicago, and like they would talk to me about like they got in trouble and their coach has to punish them by making them wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning and do these crazy drills or run like a couple of them have to run miles, 2 miles after every like bullpen up and down a mountain, like all these just insane stories. Like what do you got from your JUCO?
I have countless of insane stories. I know that for sure. A lot of them I can't speak on. But we had that morning conditioning, every single day or Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the fall, we'd run up the mountain, like a 2 mile desert run and then up the mountain,
Yeah.
10 times. And if anyone ever, threw up on the mountain, which was inevitable, we always used to call it calling the dinosaurs because you were just, calling the
Yeah.
dinosaurs. It was, again, it was just such a good team, such a fun team that we'd anytime we swept the team or swept the week, which was we went 4-0 in the week, we'd wrestle in the we had a little modular trailer as our locker room with like hardwood floors, and you just call someone out and wrestle them for no reason.
That's so
It
sick.
was and it was a blast. Looking back on it again, it was one of the best years of baseball on and off the field in my life. Again, the memories you make in junior college and college in general are just so valuable.
Yeah. No, for sure. So, like, did you do a lot of wrestling yourself? Like, were you pretty good at, like, I'm not much of a wrestler, but like, did you hold
I
your
got
own?
it. I got my fair share. Yeah, I feel like I had a pretty. I feel like I had a winning record. I don't know. I don't really
Yeah.
remember that much about
We'll
the
start the
actual.
narrative that we don't, nobody should mess with you. Let's say, like,
Yeah,
there's a,
no one. Yeah, I went undefeated in JUCO. Yeah, 100%.
yeah, we'll start then undefeated in wrestling in JUCO. Your wrestling career undefeated. I'm gonna go ahead and tag that. So we'll start the narrative that if you're ever in a baseball brawl, like, don't mess with him because like JUCO bandit, like undefeated wrestler. Like that's gonna be the narrative. We'll start circulating around the Giant fans there.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So did you like maybe what was like one story like did your coach ever have like a story of trying to like to motivate the boys like maybe like a couple war stories or something? Like what was like
Uh
his motivational speech?
Not that it was never really like a huge motivational speech. Like he wasn't a big like rah rah kind of guy. He just kind of told it how it was and kind of let the players play and express themselves.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were such a rowdy bunch. Like we didn't really need like getting pepped up. You know what I mean? Like I mean, we love I get junior college. You're kind of still out to. We love trash talk. We love getting in people's grills and just fucking let them hear it, bro.
Yeah.
Like it was wild. Like
What was one team that you just love to like pitch against because like their fans were maybe the chirpiest or maybe some of the guys there were a little cocky?
I mean, it's probably geez. I mean, again, in junior college, everyone was cocky, and all the
Yeah.
games were always so chippy in conference. I mean, again, like the amount of times you would mouth off to the other dugout. I mean, 3, 4, 5. I mean, there wasn't a single game in junior college in conference where we didn't get a warning from the umpires in the second inning. Like it was just like
Yeah.
that chippy and that edgy all the time, which was
Love it.
why it was so fun because it was just raw competitiveness. There was no like backing down. There was no like doing like the proper thing
Yeah.
and not talking trash. It was whatever you wanted to say, you said it when you wanted to say it, and you had to
Better
back
back
it
it
up.
up. Yeah.
I mean, again, it was a blast because again, just the chippiness, the competition was through the roof.
Yeah. And then you ended up getting drafted after that. Like how hard was it saying no? Because then you're betting on yourself again. That might just be like the story of your career so far, just betting on yourself. You end up going to Arizona State. Like, but how difficult of a decision was it to kind of like not get drafted or maybe say no and just go back to college?
I mean, it was definitely tough. But at the end of the day, I just had to look in the mirror. Probably about 2 weeks after I got drafted, about 2 weeks for the deadline, and I just could feel I just wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Like I was like maturity off the field, like I'm not there yet to take care of myself. On the field, I still don't like. I was a power pitcher, but I had a long way to go into being a successful professional baseball player. And talking to a few people, it just felt like I was going to get more development at a university. Get my education a little bit more because that's always important, and then just develop for 2 years with a stress-free year in between that sophomore year. I was like, you know what? I think that's my best bet. I could really work on stuff, and I could take these steps in my progression to where like I'll be comfortable going into pro ball and being ready to compete right away.
Yeah. Okay. Were there any other colleges or universities maybe kind of looking at you? Because obviously you're putting up numbers, you're hitting, pretty high. You're throwing gas. Like,
Definitely had a good amount of offers. One of the funny ones was Colorado, University of Northern Colorado.
okay.
They're good. Like the recruiting guy there was good friends with my advisor at the time. I'm pretty sure they still are. But he called me and asked me how would I like it. It was like 185% scholarship. Just as a joke, more or less, because they knew they weren't going to get me, but they just wanted to say they offered me just two. But yeah, he offered me
Something stupid.
185% scholarship to go there, and it was a pretty good running joke. But yeah, I mean, Tennessee was a big one that I really liked. TCU was another big one. South Carolina. But again, at the end of the day, I just felt at home at Arizona State. I was already from basically Arizona at the time because it's Central Arizona. I love the idea of playing with Torque and Bishop and Aldretti.
Yeah, that's sick.
I mean, that sold me a lot more than anything else was the ability to win right away.
Yeah.
In sophomore year, we dealt with some injuries, dealt some stuff like that, which kind of dampened our season. And then obviously the COVID year, when we really felt like we were going to make a push, it's went to hell in a handbasket. The entire world did.
Yeah, and that's crazy. And like, how was the visit to Arizona State? Like, obviously, you went on a couple different recruiting visits. Like, were you able to go to were you able to go to football games? Maybe go out with the boys, show you around. Like,
I mean, when I took my visit, it was probably mid-July.
Okay.
So just because again, it was after the draft, and I hadn't decided what I was going to do yet, so I wanted to take my visits. And so it was mid-July. No one was on campus.
Dang.
The only thing I did was I hung out with Lyle Wynn, who was with the Diamondbacks, and I was actually in AAA this year too. Hung out with him. The freshmen were on campus for workouts, so like that was basically all I did. Show me around campus, stuff like that. But again, just the culture that was being built at Arizona State, the players that were there, the competition I was going to face in the fall, day in and day out. I just thought that was just such a good fit for me.
How sick is that like locker room and like the setup that they have? Because I feel like I've seen it
It's
on videos. Like it looks just sweet.
it's pretty awesome, and they keep improving on it. Bloomquist over there is doing a great job right now with that program.
Yeah.
But I mean, we got that. We have a pitching lab now.
Yeah.
They have those batting cages that are awesome. So like even now coming back, like you always get a good group of alumni coming back and training there because of the culture and the facilities that Arizona State has provided us, and it's awesome.
Are you just able to go there whenever you want then and like practice? You kind of have like an open invitation?
More or less, yeah. I just the courtesy of shooting blew me a text saying that hey, like I'm going to show up and work out and whatnot.
Yeah.
Just more of a common courtesy type thing.
Yep.
But I mean, yeah, again, it's a good like me and Torque and Tolman and a few other guys were there last year had live ABs,
That's
ground balls.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's just good to have that alumni backing and those alumni there to talk to and hang out with. It's awesome.
And how was it playing with those guys? Because you mentioned there's like Torque and Bishop, I think also was there, right?
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it was a blast just because I mean that offense was so good and so explosive that like you were never out of a game and I mean it was awesome. And see, Bishop his junior year, that first half of the season was probably the best hitter on the planet, and that was fun to watch.
Yeah. Did he got drafted by the Giants too, or no?
The Giants in I think he was 10th overall
Yeah.
in 19. I want to say. I feel like that's right.
That's crazy. And you were 7-1 there, 3 saves. Like how fun was it? Like, or did you get to experience any college football days when you were there?
Yeah, we went to a few college football games. I mean, it
How
was
was it
just
in the
so
Pac-12?
hot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Pac-12. Like, it's not really a football conference, but it was so hot that I mean, you just kind of went to the games and sweat it out. It was a good time, and definitely there was some fun times with the boys at the games and then the after parties afterwards.
Yeah.
But
do the coach make you guys run practices in the morning or maybe the evening before so you guys don't get after it too much or no?
The only time he would like hold us like really accountable was if we got like in trouble. Like one party we had a noise complaint. We had a 5 a.m. conditioning the next morning, but like I mean, he knew it was college. He knew what was going on, and as we kept our noses clean and they didn't get into any real trouble, like he was all for us, being a team, bonding and having fun together.
That's so cool. So what would maybe he compare, not him, but like in general, like compared to like a JUCO, like if you guys got in trouble compared to like getting in trouble at like a D1 school, like is it a big difference? I feel like with the rules and different stuff, like they may have you do these.
It definitely was just because you could get road at JUCO and there was just no
get away with
regulations around it. Yeah, I remember last practice in fall in JUCO, one of the kids got a DUI, and it was the last practice. We had a bonfire the night before, and we were like, you know what, like we're just gonna go out. We're gonna have, catch and BP in the morning at 9 to 10 and be done for the fall.
Yeah.
We got to practice at 8:30. No, none of the coaches were there, and we were like, oh, what's going on? Like all of us are a little hungover at the time. I'm like, oh, what's going on? He comes out just red as can be and goes, all right, everybody, go put your running shorts on and your tennis shoes on and meet me in the corner. And I think we ran triangles for about 4 hours straight.
Jeez.
And there were several times where I would just like start running. I'd like look down, close my eyes, and I'd wake up back at the start. And I had no idea how I got there because I mean it was tough. But I can tell you, we never got in trouble again after that.
Yeah. Did you find out? Like, did you guys know why you were doing it, or it was?
We didn't know until like they gave us like a break, like about halfway through, where they're like, "You got water, obviously," and they're like, "Come on, guys! Like, we can't let this happen. Like, this is how seasons get derailed before they even get started."
Wow.
They explained to us everything that happened, and then we kind of realized and whatnot. And at the end of the day, like, everyone was safe. The guy faced his consequences for what he did, and no one was worse for it. So,
but it just goes to show you how like insane because in a D1 school, you're not running 4 hours in Arizona, in the middle of Arizona, like you.
No.
Jeez. So what about playing in Arizona? Like, was there a team that maybe because it's not as chippy as like JUCOs and stuff, but was there a team there that you kind of like to throw against? Maybe like you had like your best game where you just like, all right, I'm carving right now.
I mean, I probably wouldn't say it was my best game. It's probably one of my worst games in college, but I mean, the funnest game was Arizona.
Okay.
I mean, the rivalry is awesome. The fans get into it. They pack the house. I think we got like 8,000 every single game, which
Yeah.
was awesome in college baseball. So like that game against them and that whole series, we ended up sweeping them my junior year or sophomore year.
Mhm.
But that whole series, that midweek game, it was electric and it was just a blast.
Yeah. So talk to me about draft day, because obviously with COVID, and I've talked to like maybe 4 or 5 guys from that draft year, and everyone has basically said around the same thing as like you didn't know what to expect because
Yeah.
only five rounds. But like, what was your mindset going into it, and were you like pretty confident, or like maybe like kind of iffy, like thinking about the possibility of being drafted?
At first, like the first, going into the day itself, I was pretty confident that I was going to get taken. Didn't know where. I mean, I heard
Yeah.
things from anywhere from middle second to end of the fourth. Um, but as the draft went on, I definitely started to sweat it out a little bit. And then in the third round, when I just remember one guy signed for like 25 grand,
Yep.
and then it was just an absolute frenzy of like random picks and under slot and way over slot. And I just remember calling or texting my agent. There was a meme of the dog in the room of fire saying it's fine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I remember sending him that, and I'm like, what do we got, Alex? Like this is just insane. And then the third round went by where I thought I was going to go in the third round to the Indians. And then the fourth round happened, and I hadn't gotten a call since. And then the Giants called me and were like, all right, like this is the offer we have for you. We can't give you any more money. Are you going to take it? And again, at the end of the day, I was like, I don't want to go back to school. Like I got everything I could out of Arizona State.
Yeah.
I think I want to, see where I stack up against in my career and in pro ball, and just felt like a good fit. Felt
Yeah.
like I was going to be able to compete and progress right away and early on. And great choice.
Yeah. Did you ever play with Hayden Cantrell? Yeah, no, he would think he. I don't know if he's in the Giants org, and I think he's in the Giants org.
He's in
Uh,
the Giants orgs now, but we traded for him in like early season,
yep.
and we just never crossed paths yet.
Okay.
So I mean, I'll see him in spring training next year, I assume.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. He was drafted in 2020.
was he too?
Yeah, and he by the Brewers. They drafted
Oh,
him,
okay.
and he was traded from the Brewers to the Giants. He's been on the pod. Like, he's a good guy.
Okay.
YouTuber. Like he has all these videos and stuff. Like he's into that all that kind of stuff. Really good guy. But he was just we're talking to him about like just the stress, and like he said he was kind of calm, but his parents were like freaking out, and like is that
I could imagine.
because he was kind of like keeping things on the wraps. And then like everything kind of finally worked out. But yeah, I'm sure you'll bump ass with him at some point. He's a really good guy as well. So you get drafted by the Giants in the fourth round. Obviously, that's really good. Like how was that feeling, and like knowing that you bet on yourself to go to JUCO, you bet on yourself to go back to college, you go to Arizona State, and now you get drafted in the fourth round. Like what was that kind of like feeling for you?
I mean, it was definitely just a complete rush of emotion. I got
Yeah.
to, spend it with my family. Even with COVID going on, I got to see my
Mhm.
grandparents, a couple aunts, a couple uncles, and just being around everyone, and because everyone around me had made sacrifices for me up to that point. So just getting to share that moment with them, and I mean, it was one of the probably one of the most special days of my life to this point. And something I'll just always cherish no matter what happens in my career. Like I always be able to look back and look at that moment and spend time with my family, sharing that moment
Yeah.
with them, and just feeling those emotions again.
So you get drafted. Obviously, the signing bonus isn't what it would have been, outside of different years, with COVID and all that. But well, this is a good chunk of change. Like, what was maybe the first dumb thing you purchased with your signing bonus?
I mean, honestly, nothing. Um, the most expensive thing I bought in the last 2 years was just an iPad, just because I didn't, just because I just traded in my laptop, got an iPad. But other than that, like again, like you said, it wasn't a huge. It was a good chunk of change, but it wasn't life changing money. So I put it all away. I invested it all and letting it grow and using it more as a retirement fund after
Sure.
baseball, or as a way to keep my career going if I run into some financial problems.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been as smart as I can be with my money. Like I'll go a few shopping sprees
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
and then. But I again just try and save it, just try and keep it stashed away for the future, and yeah, I'm fine for it.
Yeah, no, awesome. That's good for you. Like I've heard guys tell me they bought chains and they bought the
Yeah.
fancy cars and all that kind of stuff. You never know. It's good for you for being very frugal and saving
Trying
and
to
investing.
anyway.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I hear that. So you obviously you made that switch from being like a starter to a reliever. Like what went into that? Because and when did that happen? Was that in college or like, did the Giants see you and you're like, well, we maybe see you as a reliever now?
Yeah, I mean, just starting off my year in college, my junior year, me and the pitching coach sat down and had a pretty long heart to heart talk about him seeing, because I mean, obviously I want to be a starter.
Yeah.
Like in the draft, the money's made as a starter.
Hmm.
In baseball in general, money's made as a starter.
Yeah,
So I was like,
for
I
sure.
want to be a starter. Like I've always been one. I've been a pretty successful one. Like I want to be a starter. But he talked to me and said like, look, like the way you pitch, what you have in your arsenal, like the way you are, you're a bullpen arm. Like you're a closer, late innings leverage guy. Um, and if you trust me, like you're gonna be fine. Like you're gonna go far in baseball, and you're gonna compete for a long time. And it was really hard because he was a new pitching coach at the time,
Yeah.
and me and him were just starting to build a rapport. And from the kind of dropped that on me. It was a tough pill to swallow at first, but again, at the end of the day, I just wanted to help the team win. I bought into it. Was pretty successful as a reliever. And then again, when the Giants drafted me, at first they said they were going to decide they wanted me to start, come out of the pen. And then in instructs, I only came out of the pen,
Yeah.
pitched well. And then I was like, okay, like I'm fine being a reliever. Like I think again, it suited my play style and everything. Now I did get a start this year and it was pretty good. But only one.
How many innings did you go?
I went two. I went 2 innings and 5 punches.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're like an opener kind of thing.
it was an open, yeah,
But
but
it's a start. We'll call it a start.
it's a start. It's a start in the books.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I mean, starting's fun, but again, at the end of the day, I just feel more at home in the bullpen. And yeah, I love it down there.
What do you do to get yourself hyped up in order to pitch? Because like I've talked to guys who have done things from like drowning themselves, like a couple guys in the Marlins organization that would literally just like inhale water and drown themselves and kind of gets that rush. Some use Red Bull, smelling salts. Like, what is your like thing to get hyped up before you pitch?
Definitely some caffeine.
Okay.
At some point, either before the game, in the middle of the game, right before I go in, just kind of depends on the day. To not to get too caught up in a routine or anything like
Hmm.
that going into the game because you never know what can happen out of the bullpen. But Red Hot's always on my arm, and caffeine. Those are the two biggest things.
Have you ever tried smelling salts or no?
I have, but not in season, just in like
Workouts?
workouts,
Yeah.
bullpens, trying to hit a PR. And they're definitely a rush. They're definitely a good time.
Yeah. Did you do that before you hit 100?
I did not know.
So you hit 100 with no smelling salts. That's pretty.
No smelling salts, no red hot.
Jeez. That's pretty
So
sick.
if I can get back there, who knows? Maybe 101.
Yeah, I was gonna say you do that again a little, you might hit 101, 102. We'll see what happens. We'll be hearing all about you in Giants, all from Giants fandom and writers and all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about the minors. So like I love hearing stories about guys who grind in the minors from whatever it may be, like broken down buses to like crazy fans. Like, do you have any funny minor league stories?
I got a few. Like last year, we played in Altoona. Like there was that double road trip. We
Hmm.
played in Altoona. Played the game. It was like a 6 o'clock game, so we didn't get done until 8. And we are driving to Binghamton, which is like it's only like 4 hours. We're gonna get there at
Hmm.
midnight. Like everyone's asleep on the bus. We pull over at like 11:30, and the traffic is just stopped. We're on a 2-lane highway and it's stopped, and there's just no movement because there's a crash like 3 miles ahead. So we stayed in on a 2-lane highway in the middle of Pennsylvania from about 11 a.m. to about 4 a.m. And
Gee.
we were just stuck. So all we did, we sat on the guardrail and drank beers with the entire team, the coaching staff, the trainers, the media guys, the broadcasters. We were all just there, just drinking beer, waiting for this traffic to clear up. And we didn't end up not getting to Binghamton to like, I want to say like 6 a.m.
Jeez.
It was pretty wild.
That's crazy. Yeah, like minor league travel is no joke.
No joke. I mean, even this year it was pretty. So we played in Tacoma and we were flying back, and our flight got canceled like 3 days before, from back to Sacramento. So like we had to split the team into like three separate flights, and obviously, the young guys, me included, were on the late flight.
Yeah.
So we flew from Tacoma to San Francisco, and we landed in San Francisco like 2 a.m. They had a bus back, and the bus driver was late. So again, we didn't get on the bus till like 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning, and we bussed back to Sacramento. But yeah,
that's insane.
it's always, I mean, funny stories. It's
Yeah.
the long travel days always make for the best stories.
Yeah. But the fact is that you're doing it sucks, and it does. And like you're professional baseball players, and you should have a little bit better travel. But like you're grinding with the boys, and that kind of makes it like you're not going through it alone, right? You have a group of guys.
Yeah, you're with the boys. You're with guys with like minds and the same situation. So
yeah,
most of the time you just joke about it, about how bad it is, and then you just get through it together.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Have you had any funny fan interactions? Because I've had guys tell me like they've had fans run onto the bus while they were leaving to try to take pictures, and like fans starting fights and stuff. Like, I mean, obviously, like minor league stadiums they're smaller, and you can hear them all and stuff. Like, have you had any like interesting like fan interactions?
The only thing I could think of was last year we had a Taiwanese pitcher named Kai Wei Tang. And we were in, I want to say, Tri-Cities. It's like the middle of like, what is it, Washington and Idaho. It's like in that border. It's middle of nowhere. And he pitches on Sunday, and he's a fan club, like a Taiwanese fan club in Tri-Cities, Washington. Just like 40, 50 Taiwanese people just holding up signs. We get on the bus after the game, and he's walking out, and they line the bus. They're giving us all high fives, and then they give Kaiwei like stuffed animals and Korean snacks. It was hilarious. And Kaiwei's just awesome. He's just a big panda bear. But he's awesome, and that was just hilarious.
And so, what is your favorite snack? Speaking of snacks, like in the bullpen, like what's your go-to snack?
Oh, definitely seeds. They're called cha-cha seeds. They're actually Kaiwei put me onto them. They're Asian seeds, and they're unreal.
What is one stadium in AAA that maybe has like the best bread?
Best bread?
Right. Yeah, maybe they just hook it up. I've heard like a couple different teams are like they just hook it up.
I have to go with our home Sacramento. We have a private chef up there, Michelle, and she was awesome. I mean, she didn't make a single bad meal the entire year, which is pretty tough to say in minor league baseball.
Yeah, and like not very. Do most teams have private chefs? Because I don't think that I've never.
I don't think there's probably a handful of boards with them, and we were lucky enough to have one this year. I don't know if there was one last year, but this year we had one. And again, she was awesome, made great food, and always accommodated to you. She was the best.
Yeah, like what is your favorite food or meal, like post-game meal that she would make?
Oh, she always made steaks, like tri-tip and some like mashed sweet potatoes, asparagus, broccoli. Was really good.
Dang, that's crazy. That's cool. Like awesome. I said, a lot of organizations don't have that, because I've never heard anybody say that they had a chef. That they're pretty much just getting you ready for the show.
I guess so. Yeah, I can't complain.
And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna put this on the record. You might do something that no one has ever done before, and that's make me cheer for the Giants.
There you go.
I grew up hating the Giants because I was an A's fan growing up in California.
Okay,
and there's always that Bay Area rivalry, like the Giants were like the big brother, and the A's were kind of like that scrappy, don't pay a lot of the players, kind of thing. So we kind of looked up at the Giants, and then they would win 3 out of 3 World Series in like 5 or 6 years, and like everyone I went to school with would be like, like 3 World Series rings, blah blah blah. And then all we had was 89 when the A's beat the Giants. So like I kind of grew up like having that, like not a hatred, but just like a friendly rivalry with them.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and you're the first guy from the Giants organization that I've interviewed. So like,
really,
I haven't had any Giants guys on. Maybe that's just my bias, and I'm like, I don't want them. But somehow I convinced myself to get you on, and like I said, you might make me want to cheer for the Giants now, especially when you make the show. Because if you're in the show and you're here in Milwaukee, like I have the calendar circled on my calendar here, the dates that San Francisco comes to Milwaukee, and I'm assuming you're going to make your major league debut. And when that day comes here and you're in Milwaukee, like we're going to have to chop it up a little bit.
Hey, yeah, I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So tell Giants fans a little bit about you, and let's end on this. Like maybe like something like your music that you like, or like what do you, when you're not pitching, what do you do for fun? Give something to Giants fans a little bit to listen to get to know you better.
Big cook, big coffee guy. Those are
Okay.
my two biggest things. I love to cook. I mean, I'll cook for my girlfriend almost every day of the week.
Yeah.
I love to do it. Love experimenting with new foods. You know, big cook. Love to do it. And then coffee. I love coffee. I mean, go out of my way for
What's your go-to like brand of coffee?
I go to local roasters. Try not to go to the same place too many times. Like every time on the road trip, I find a local place. Tacoma was a great one. I mean,
Yeah.
Seattle has a great coffee. Tacoma, Salt Lake has some really good coffee. But love going to coffee shops. Love sampling coffees and tasting that. So those are my two biggest things are cooking and coffee.
Did you ever get any pointers from your guys' chef at the in AAA?
Every now and then, yeah, she gave me a few recipes I'm gonna try out here soon. But the biggest thing was Shelby Miller is an also huge coffee guy.
Okay.
And, he taught me a lot about making coffee, kind of like especially like espresso at home.
Yeah.
So I'm starting doing that this off season. But again, like awesome, love coffee and cooking.
How do you make your coffee? Like, what do you do to brew it? Like, do you
I
do
use
like
a I
French
use an
press or?
AeroPress right now,
Okay. Yeah.
and it's just it's a little bit cheaper than getting a full on espresso machine. So I'm use an AeroPress, use some freshly ground coffee, and it's great.
That's insane. That's sick. I love coffee myself, and like I was talking to a guy who grew up in like the Seattle area. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
no offense, dude, but like I hate Starbucks, and he's like, ah, it's okay, we don't like it either because Starbucks originated like
In Seattle,
from
yeah,
Seattle,
and
yeah, stuff. But like,
it's okay. It's not
yeah,
great. Like I'd rather not go to Starbucks, not
yeah,
go to big chain coffee shops. But if I have to, I have to.
Pete's coffee. I prefer Pete's
Pete's
coffee.
Coffee's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
It's,
'cause they're
Phil's
smaller.
Coffee
Feels good.
Phil's
Yeah,
Coffee is a really good chain that is a chain, but it's not a chain. It's kind of like
yeah,
that in
yeah,
between phase. Like that's probably the that and pizza are the two that I would only really go to
yeah.
chain wise.
Yeah,
But
we
other
don't
than
have
that,
pizza out here. We don't have Phil's either in Wisconsin.
I think Phil's is only in California.
That'd be like because I know there was one in like Palo Alto area,
Yeah,
maybe
definitely
San
is.
Jose, but yeah. So you play in Sacramento. Like, what was maybe like your spot to go to? Like, maybe like you have a did you become like an In and Out fan? I don't know if they have In and Out in Sacramento. I'm sure they do, but like,
Not really. Again, like I try to with a private chef. I never had to
oh
get
yeah,
dinner.
sorry, yeah, my bad,
So,
my bad. I don't know. I don't even know why
but,
I asked that question. Mr. Private Chef over here.
but yeah, we never really had to get dinners because there was never a bad meal, which is huge. I mean, again,
Yeah.
in minor league baseball usually pencil in one or
Yep.
two dinners a week. But I mean, again, that just took care of everything. Took stress off of finding food to eat sometimes, and it's good on the Giants. Like our org is great. They treat our players the right way, and I love it here.
Yeah, that's sick. Who was one guy like in your on your team who just got like hounded by fans? Like that one dude that like everybody wanted an autograph for. Like autograph seekers are everywhere with their binders of
Autographs,
autographs.
probably Ramos. Probably
Okay.
Ramos. Hilliard Ramos is definitely a fan for everyone when it comes to autographs. Um, he definitely Ramos.
Okay, that's great. What is the craziest thing you've seen a fan do to get an autograph? Because we talk about like these like I know like there's a lot of like grown men who would just come with their books and like they're like, hey, sign this autograph. Then you see them every single homestand, like oh, sign this autograph
Yeah,
again.
that's really it. Like I haven't seen really too many crazy things. Just again like that the same fan coming every single week with 40 cards to sign.
Yeah,
And like the first time, like, oh yeah, I'll sign a card for you, and then you see 40 cards, you sign them all, and you're like, okay, whatever. Like, I got sucked into it. And then the next week, like, you're signing autographs for a little kid, and then same guy comes up and hands a book, and you're like, well, I'm already here. How many more can you
yeah.
have? Then he has 40 more.
Jeez, that's crazy. Like I said, fans, they do the wildest things, like whether it's chasing people down on buses or creating a fan club, even for your guy out there.
Highway.
Yeah, but hey, I do want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Like you taking your time to talk and all that. Like it's super cool. Like I said, I might be a Giants guy now. Like I don't know. Like we'll have to see how it works. I might have to see if I can get maybe you can help me get a couple more of your Giant guys on here because like I said,
Also, we can do. We definitely we can pull some strings.
yeah. Who's your roommates out there?
Right now it's just a college buddy and my girlfriend.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
we just got a place out here in Arcadia, and nice and simple, nothing too
Yeah.
crazy.
Okay, right on. Well, I might have to DM you with a couple requests. Be like, hey, let's work this out. Try to get a couple of these guys on here because
Yeah, see what we can do.
I appreciate that, brother. All right, hey, you have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, you too, man.
All right, bro.
Appreciate it.